All right, so good evening once again. We appreciate every one of us that have taken their time to honor this free training section on Python programming language. So like I just mentioned now, I'll be taking us through the journey of Python. And I'm very sure that there are a lot of us here that are probably familiar with Python programming language. But I will still advise us to remain calm because I'm very sure that you will be glad that you joined this section. And make sure that you stay to the end of this training. I'm going to start with giving us the general introduction to Python programming language. But before we dive into the programming language itself, we are going to know what programming is all about. What are the benefits of becoming a programmer? What are some of the applications of your programming skills? So we're going to look at that, and then we will also create basic apps. That is after the practical that's scheduled to cover tonight. The main training is going to start on Sunday. That should be this very Sunday, and the hour for the training still remain 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. For now, the training we hold on Sundays. So for those that be willing to go beyond what I'm going to teach us tonight, you can reach us via the number on the screen. You can WhatsApp me if you're interested to join that masterclass. All right. So for now, the information will come back to you later. But for now, let's go into the main training. So let's start with knowing what Python programming language is all about. Before that, I just want to walk us through some of the plan for tonight training. So tonight we plan to look at general introduction to Python or to programming. And then we'll also talk about introduction to Python programming, and then Python programming IDE. And then of course, we shall perform some practical towards the end of this training. So I advise you to stay tuned to the end so that you can grab the full package. So we shall look at some Python basic coding syntax. Right? So let's start with the first topic. Let's start with the first topic. So what is programming generally? What is programming generally? So programming is the art of writing instructions, writing commands on the computer to perform specific tasks. So in summary, we can say it's just like the way you talk to your children, the way you talk to your younger ones, the way you instruct someone that please help me to get a cup of water. So we can also talk to the computer to do something for us. And the art of writing instructions that could instruct the computer to do something for us, it is called programming. While the languages we use in communicating with the system, they are called the programming languages, of which we are learning one of them today, which happen to be the most spoken programming language in the world, and the number one rank AI programming language, which is the Python. So let's quickly look at some of the opportunities around programming. In other words, why should I learn programming? Why should I aim to become a programmer? There are numerous benefits, advantages for you to become a programmer, particularly learning Python programming language. So one of its advantage, or the reason why we learn programming, is that we have the opportunity to secure high job opportunities. Now, I want us to understand that the entire technology that we know today has its roots, its foundation in programming. Everything that you can, see, or you can uh, uh, identify as programming or technology rather, has a connection towards programming. So if you mention any technology, because when we say technology, we are not talking about just hardware. Technology comprises hardware and software. I don't want to go into that because I believe that some of us must have gotten that foundational skills or knowledge of computer. So we have the software, we have the hardware technology. In fact, the collaboration of the software and the hardware is what forms what technology. For example, take a look at the ATM machine. Now, it was first of all, or it is first of all programmed. That is what the software aspect before you can press those buttons and then you get money out of it. So each time I use the word technology, I want us to understand that it's not restricted to only hardware. It comprises hardware and software. So one of the direct benefits of programming is that high job opportunity. So a programmer stand to secure a lot of job opportunity. So programming skills are highly demanded worldwide. Companies need programmers to build websites, mobile apps, software, games, business system. All right, so just for us to know that programming is a major part of what technology that you and I know today. Now, another benefit of learning programming is that problem-solving skills. When you come across programmers, you will find out that they are always very creative human beings. Their reasoning patterns are different from people who are not in programming. That is why today you see now schools are beginning to introduce coding into their curriculum. Why? Because they have discovered that most children find it difficult to understand those core subjects like mathematics and the rest. And the only way they can get them to think outside the box, for them to be creative, the only way they can get them to remain consistent, to persevere, to stay put until they provide solution, is by exposing them to the world of programming. Because one of the reasons why we refer to programmers as problem solver is this. You are going to see when I get to the practical aspect, it is not every time you write your scripts. It is not every time you write your code and you get the desired result. Sometimes you can program a command expecting that command to give you A, and the command may not even give you anything at all close to what you are targeting. So a programmer will now, invoke his or her debugging knowledge. What is debugging? Debugging is the ability to identify the
Yes,
problem
bro.
and fix it, to provide solution. So this is one of the exercise that end up making them problem solving individuals. Because when they write code and execute the code, if the code doesn't run, they will look into the code again. If it doesn't work, they will look at it from another angle. If it doesn't work, They will look at it from another perspective until the problem is solved. That is the attribute of a programmer. That is what eventually make them problem-solving people. So learning programming helps you think logically. How many of us have thought of how is the OP app, the Money Point app, functioning? Today, now, they have drastically reduced the traffic we used to have in the banking hall. You hardly see people, being on queue in the bank because somebody look at that problem, that why are people queuing? In fact, sometimes you see individual fighting, I have to go first, I'm the one that came first. All of those problems, somebody looked at it from an angle and say, I can build an app like what? Bank app that can save people from coming, save people what? Time and what? Stress. So a lot of us today, we don't go to the bank again. Some of us, even a whole year, we don't even know the road to the bank. Why? Because we are technological what? People that knows how to use the app to solve most of the problem. So you can see that that is the direct benefit of programming. So you can see how somebody program an app that is attending to thousands of people. So that is why I told us earlier on that what programming is one of the highly demanded skill. Companies like banks, industries, advanced or big businesses, they are looking for what programmer to reduce, to minimize the human effort. Most of the tasks today are automated. And that is possible today with AI. And the language for that AI is the Python that we are all in to learn. So logically and solve problems step by step. It improves your analytical and critical thinking ability. There is no way you can learn programming and your thinking faculty remain the same. Something must have stretched you. Your reasoning must have upgraded, must have stepped up. You can never learn programming and your reasoning level still remain the same. At the end of the day, you will have become a goal-oriented person, because for you to program any application, you must have foreseen the end as your goal. And then you are writing your program trying to achieve what you have seen before you even started what? Writing. All right, so we are still on benefits of learning what? Programming, before we dive into the main language that we want to speak tonight. Ability to build software and applications. So if you learn programming, you'll be able to build a software and also what? Application. All right. So I need at least one person to unmute and respond. Sir, I am following. I just want to know if we are getting it. Just one person to unmute and tell us, sir, I am following.
Yes, sir, we are actually following.
All right, thank you very much for that. So we are still discussing the benefit of programming. You see, when I started, I said I'm a mentor. I have been tutoring for over 21 years. So when I was mentioning, I know Python, I'm a web developer, I'm a cyber security expert. Some of us will have been wondering, how come one person can learn all? Yes, I've been around for a while, right? So what I'm doing here right now, I'm trying to mentor you before we go into the training so that you choose right. You don't choose it because we advertise for it. If you feel at the end of this explanation, this is not where you should be, there's no point of you moving further. All right, so you can create websites, mobile app, games, automation tools, and many digital solutions for businesses and personal projects. that is still the direct application of programming. So another benefit of programming is financial opportunity. Programmers can earn money through freelancing. Today, what we hear around is remote job. People are no longer interested in working on sites. Why? Because things can be done swiftly from your comfort zone. You don't need to. There are a lot of remote job opportunity for programmers and other tech domain out there. So being a programmer, you stand to earn money from freelancing. So freelancing means you are not working under anybody. You just like you are doing your stuff. You just like you are a boss of yourself. For example, now a website developer is a freelancer. It doesn't require a company to engage me physically. I can be in my house and be building website for individual and be earning my money. That is freelancing. I'm not answering sir to anyone. So if you take time to develop yourself, to become a professional, I can assure you that you can never lack money, particularly if you are vast. Because one thing we need to understand, even as I'm taking us through this mentorship session, we need to understand that the main jobs, they are not for learners. So if eventually you are going into any aspect of technology, you must make up your mind to know it very well, because you have a lot of persons to compete with. There are a whole lot of persons in the world, in technological world, terrain. And there are still a lot of persons that are venturing into it. So the competition is high. So whatever you are learning, you must learn it very well. So software development, these are things you can do within programming that can fetch you money. You can take startup and online services, just like the one I'm offering right now. We are still talking about the benefits, the importance of being a programmer. So technology, understanding, and innovation. Programming helps you understand how technology works. When I started, I told us that everything today that is around technology is traced to programming. Programming is the root of technology. Directly or indirectly, you can't take programming out of it. It's the foundation of technology. So it helps you understand how technology works and gives you the power to create new ideas, automate tasks, and innovate in different industry. Today, AI is taking some person's job, but those that are professional in the field, AI has come to fine-tune, to make their work easier. Take, for example, if I am a graphic designer, AI has not come to take my job. Instead, AI has come to make my work more faster. But it's only somebody who does not understand the domain expertise of that particular area he or she is in that will feel threatened by AI. Today, even this programming you want to learn, you are only learning it so that you can understand the domain, so that you can understand the scope, so that you can be familiar with the terminologies, so that you can say you are a developer, so that you can say that, okay, somebody guided you, somebody trained you. Sometimes there is confidence in that. Instead of you saying, I want to learn on my own, you need a mentor if you want to go far in technology. Someone who has been there, somebody who can guide you, so that the journey of 10 years can be reduced to maybe 1 year. But after that, most of the things you'll be doing, you will definitely use AI to generate them. Today, I can build an entire website without manually writing code. For you that you are not expert in that web development, You cannot do it because number one, even if they take you to the AI, you don't even know how to describe things that you want. So it is very wrong for somebody to say that I don't need to be tutor. I don't need to be mentor. You need to be tutor first so that you can learn it sequentially. Then at the end of the day, when you have become a master, you can now what? Leverage on AI to fast track or to fine tune your work. So now that we have discussed all this, let's quickly look at the next topic. So now we are going into Python introduction properly. Everything that I've been explaining is pertain to what? Programming, irrespective of the language you are using. So I just wanted us to understand that there are a whole lot of benefits for you to learn programming. Now let's look at general introduction to Python, programming language. Now, when I started, I said programming is the art of writing instruction to the computer to perform words and action or to carry out an assignment. That's programming, writing commands. For example, the Microsoft Office Word, it is a result of someone program or programming. And today you and I, we easily download it, use it to type documents without understanding how it was put together. All right. So the question is that if you tell me that you are a programmer, the next question I'm going to ask you is that which language, which of the computer programming language do you use or understand? Yes, programming languages are languages that are used to talk to the computer and then for the computer to talk back to us. It's not one way, it's both way. So that language should be able to enable you to talk to the computer, and then that same language should enable the computer to respond. So what we advertise and what we told you that we are going to teach you free is what? Python. So let's look at Python. So how do we define Python? Python is a high-level interpreted and object-oriented programming language designed for. So this is where I am mentioning the functions of Python. Developing software applications. The OP app that we all use today was created with Python programming language. Most of the recent apps today that are very fast, that are optimized, they are or they were created with Python. Automating tasks. When I was explaining earlier on, I said today we don't need to visit the banking or the bank hall for transaction. You can use the app to do most of your transactions. That is somebody's handwork. Somebody automated the system. Tasks can be repeated. Each time you want to transfer money, you go to your app, you click on transfer, you use those functions, and then each time you go back again, those functions can be reused. And that has saved the bank a lot of money. Now, you now ask yourself, the money that the bank will have used to pay those individuals that will have been attending to you and I, each time we visit the bank, where has that money been channeled to? The money has been channeled to be paying what? The programmer for developing that app and what? Maintaining the app. That is why I was telling you that what? There are a lot of ways you can earn money for programming. Analyzing data. Today we use this same Python for machine learning, for data science, for data analysis, because it has vast of libraries, which means what? Modules or packages, customized functions that can be plugged into different what aspects of technology. In web development, we use Python using a framework called the Django. In data analytics, we use this same Python programming language with the help of libraries like Pandas, NumPy, and the rest. This same Python has library that can develop what? Mobile application and desktop application. And of course, the artificial intelligence you are hearing today is the existence of what? Python. It is widely known for its simple task or syntax. The word syntax in programming means set of rules that govern how code are written. It's just like every language have their own mode of what? Speaking them. You want to speak Hausa now. If I want to say come, I will say zo. If I want to say go, I will say what? I will say what? Well, I think we have some Hausa here. I will say tifi. Now, if you want to speak that same thing, want to communicate that same thing in Igbo, you say what? Yeah. You understand? So every language have their own syntax. So as you are going into programming, you need to understand that there are rules that guide the difference between Python programming language and what C# or Java is the syntax of communicating them. So a Python programmer should understand the syntax of programming with Python. So Python is known for its simplicity. That is one of the reasons why you see almost everybody today can easily learn Python. In as much you can speak English, you can write English, you should be able to what? To speak Python. Very simple language to learn. You can write just short code and give you what? Maximum what? Results. And that is why you see that today is trending. Is like I said, it is widely used, known for its simple task, readability, flexibility, and powerful libraries. I've mentioned all this, making it one of the most popular programming languages for beginners and what? Professional worldwide. So like I've explained so far, you can see that almost every aspect of technology today and the future has an input of Python. In other words, Python is contributing directly or indirectly. And if at all you want to learn any programming language for today and tomorrow, then Python is the right language because it's the AI, it's the present, it's the future of technology. And it has wide range of libraries. The word library means container or function, where functions are stored. So let's quickly discuss. We are gradually getting to the practical aspects. So the training is 2 hours. So actually budgeted 1 hour for this mentorship and this theoretical aspect. Then the last 1 hour will be used for practical. So make sure that you do not log out. So let's look at what is called IDE. Now that we know what programming is, now that we know what Python programming language is, now if you want to write a program, you need a platform. You need an interface to write, execute, and debug your code. So a practical example is just like somebody who wants to type a letter. He or she needs word editor like Microsoft Word, Notepad, and the rest for he or she to be able to write and print out the document. The same way, when a programmer wants to write code, he or she must ask for a platform. And this different platform that helps us to write, execute, debug, interpret our code, they are called integrated development environment, IDE. They are called what? integrated development environment, IDE. So how do we define it? It's a software application that provides programmers with all the tools. So you need tools. Programming is not like the way I'm speaking it like this. So I need things to enhance the programming process. Now, any IDE you are consulting must have the following attributes. One, that IDE must enable you to write your code. It must enable you to test your code, that is the execution. It must enable you to debug, that is to find error and fix them. It must also enable you to run your computer program in one place. So in other words, when choosing IDE, be guided with what I just pointed out. Please, there are some persons that have not muted. Please make sure you remain muted while I am talking. So except you want to say anything like I have already advised before, you can use the reaction button. And if you have any question, please kindly reserve the question. I will pause at some point and ask us if we have any question. So like I was saying, the criteria for choosing IDE is that IDE should be able to allow you to write your code. It should be able to allow you to test your code, debug your code, and then, of course, run your computer program in one place. That is why you need an IDE. So just to explain some of these features that are built in IDEs, let's talk about this feature. Number one, code editor. So what is the role of this attribute or element in an IDE? The role is that it is used for writing programming code. So there must be an editor, there must be a development space. In other words, where you can write your code. That is the code editor. Then the IDE must also have compiler or interpreter, which means an aspect of an IDE that helps us to convert the code into a form the computer can understand and execute. Debugger helps identify and fix error, like I've established before, in the program. So any IDE you are choosing, please ensure that it has this attribute. Then your IDE must have a terminal or console. What is the role of that element? Used to run and test program. So once you write a code, like we are going to see when we get to the practical aspect, we are going to write a code and then we will what? We will run the code and then we are expecting an output, and that output is expected to be displayed in the IDE console. Because when we get to the advanced, for those that will register at the end of the day, when we get to the advanced aspect, we are going to learn what we call Python GUI. That is what? Graphical what? User interface, where the output will no longer be within the terminal. Instead, you must have programmed a separate user interface where the user can see the outcome of what is happening at the back end of the program. So every application you use today, like OPay and all those other apps, there is a back end that you are not privileged to see. The developer turn it off from your access, because if you access it, you can tamper with a lot of code and end up what? Destroying the functions of that app. So what the developer does is to give you a user interface where you can see the result of what you are doing. So the IDE must also provide must have syntax highlighting and auto completion. Of course, these are some of the factors you consider. If you are choosing old IDE or basic IDE, you are not going to get this what internal assistance. For example, if I'm using one of the most used Python IDE, which is called PyCharm, PyCharm has a lot of Python keywords. So if, for example, I want to write print, the moment I type PR, it brings out the full word command. So that is the meaning of what syntax highlighting and auto word completion. So I don't have to write the whole code. So once I start it, once I highlight the keywords, then everything will be pulled out from the program, from the IDE. So which means that what that language functions are already acknowledged in that IDE, and that is done to make your work faster. So example of some popular IDE before I open the line for question. Like I told us, once it is 9 p.m., we switch to the practical aspect. So let's quickly look at some of the example of the popular IDE. Includes Visual Studio Code. Now, one of the reasons why some persons will prefer using Visual Studio Code is that it's very light in weight. For those of us that our laptops does not have high configuration, we are to stick to what IDE like Visual Studio Code. But the only disadvantage is that if you are going to program with Python, Visual Studio Code does not come with Python what inbuilt extension. The moment you try to save with .py, which is the Python extension, then there will be a pop-up telling you that, hey, this extension is not here. So if you are on the internet, you just follow that link and then automatically you get the extension installed. Then you can go ahead and use it. But the best IDE for Python programming is PyCharm. Very suitable for Python programming. Then we have Eclipse, we have NetBeans, we have Android Studio. And for those that do not have laptop, you don't need to worry. I just hope that you subscribe into the main session like I told us that will be starting on Sunday here. You will see how we will teach you how you can use your phone. Everything that we are going to be learning, you can use your mobile phone to practicalize it. So we will tell you the app that you can go to Play Store and download. And even what the practical we are going to do today, though I'm not going to use any of this. So in the main training session, I will teach us how to use, we are going to be using PyCharm for those that will be using laptop, and those that will use mobile phone, we will tell you the app you will need to download on your phone to follow up the class. So the reason why I don't want to go PyCharm because for you to install PyCharm, there are a lot of processes involved. You need to install the Python itself into your environment variable. That is your system part. You need to acknowledge Python there. Then before you go and download the PyCharm, and then before we talk about the interface setup. So all of that will take the whole 1 hour that we budgeted for the practical training. And that is why we are not going that. But by the grace of God, if you register for the master class that is on Sunday, we will start with those configuration. Those that will join with laptop, we will ask you to share your screen and make sure that every one of us set up our system for the Python programming before we take up properly. So in simple terms, an IDE is a complete workspace that helps programmers develop software faster and more efficiently. All right, so these are the practicals that we have tonight. So when I resume, we are going to go for 9 minutes break. But I'm not saying you should sign out. I'll still be here. So in case you have question on what I have taught us so far, we can relate. And then when we come back, we are going to run through this. We are going to learn how to set up our coding environment. We are going to understand Python basic syntax command. And then, of course, we are going to know what is called Python comment. And then, of course, Python variable. And then writing a simple app for collecting users' data. So this is the practical that is scheduled for us to cover within the 1 hour. So at this junction, I'm going to pause. If you have question, you can ask. And in case you want to know about other program, perhaps you are here, but Python is not the area you want to go. We have other programs, so uh, you can ask. You can ask. So I'm leaving the line open for the next 8 minutes for interaction. Thank you very much. Question, please, if you have any.
Yeah, good evening once more.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, wonderful delivery. Thank you so much. I really appreciate.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we're already gaining value already. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You made mention of a particular, should I say, it's a concept. You
Okay.
talked about packages,
Okay.
libraries.
Yeah.
I you talked Django, okay, and you made mention you mentioned different libraries as well that can be used to develop. In fact, in different aspects like data analytics and the rest, that you have different libraries to make the work
Easier.
functional.
Yeah.
Please, I would like you to throw more light on the concept of packages and libraries, please. Thank you.
Okay. So yes, when we say packages, it also means library. Now let's get it this way. Python took time to develop functions that are associated with a particular aspect of technology. For instance, in web development, Python assemble functions, which is called library. And at the same time, we can refer to it as framework. Now, which means that this framework, you are not meant to write the code from scratch because that is why it is called library. When you get to library, they must have arranged all the books. The only thing you are asking for is, how do I access this? How do I access that? So eventually, when I access this, how do I understand it? That is why it is important to have general knowledge of Python before going into those areas. Because those codes that are already pre-written across those library or packages, they were written with Python programming language. So someone who has not learned Python programming language like we are learning now, we find it difficult when he or she sees a Python code, will not be able to decode it. That is why, for example, you want to go and learn data analytics, understand Python to 30 to 40%. In fact, understand the entire base of Python down to functions, so that when you start using pandas, when you start using scikit-learn, when you start using all those libraries, NumPy, when you write their function, you understand what the functions are. Now, I use 3 words: library, packages, and which other one again? I think 2 majorly, right? Library, I think framework, yes. So in all, it means containers or functions. So like I was breaking it down for you. So you can see how one of the reasons why people are going into Python, because so many scripts have been pre-written. Let me pick on cybersecurity now, which if you enroll for our cybersecurity, we will get to a point where we will not also teach you basic Python. Now, the reason is that in cybersecurity, we are in the AI cybersecurity today. The development has gone past the legacy, even past the advance. We are now in the era of protecting the internet space using AI what? Models using AI technology. For example, Python. So in ethical hacking, we use Python as our scripting languages, the language we use in writing code that can be used to perform penetration testing. Now, somebody who is learning data analytics that is also using Python will not use the same packages, will not use the same library, but all their functions based on that domain are written in Python. So I don't know if I've answered your question, sir.
Yes, yeah, very, very clear. So I don't know what you're trying to explain is that different profession has different
Library,
libraries,
yeah,
different
written with the same Python.
packages.
Yes,
They are all written in the same language, but it
yes,
has different
different
programs
niche, yes.
specifically for that profession.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. So that is why if you
Okay,
want to go
okay.
into any of
Thank you
these
very much.
areas now, want to learn cybersecurity, you must be grounded, at least understand Python fundamentals. Want to go into web development, you must understand Python. So just like Python is the general language, just like you are saying that the language is used to build a car, and you want to jump into the car, you will not understand how the car works. But if you learn the language that was used to build that car, then when you are in the car, if the car is making certain sound, you will understand because you understand the language. Do we have question, please? We have a few minutes to start the practical session. If you know anyone that has not joined yet, please kindly tell them we are about starting the main practical. So while I still give room for, let's say, one question. So while I'm waiting for the question, like I told us, the master class, which will run for few weeks, which will run for, let's say, approximately a month and 3 weeks, starting on Sunday. And we have scheduled it in a way that it does not affect those working class persons. So the training will start from 8 p.m., just like we are holding this one now, from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., 2 hours per meeting. And we are looking at 2 times in a week. But currently we are starting with Sunday. So once we have concluded the registration, we are going to, conclude together which other day we feel that is better. So we are going to conduct a poll in the registration group so that, because we want to make sure that everybody is able to get it. Then peradventure you are not able to catch up with the live classes, you can still go ahead and register, because at the end of each training, the recorded video will be uploaded either to our Google Drive that you can download and look at it at your own pace, or to our YouTube page. So there's no cause for alarm. Even if you cannot catch up with the live classes, this is actually an opportunity. I can tell you, what we collect for Python training is about 300,000 if we are not running the promo like this. But we plan to give anybody that have joined this session now that we want to register immediately after the training, or probably tomorrow, we'll give it to you for 10,000 for those that have joined. So you can prepare your mind, because once I'm through, or towards the end of the practical, we make the account detail available for those that want to take advantage of this offer to make their payment just for 10,000, and then you'll be added to the group, because there are some persons that have already registered. This is the second time we are organizing this training. So, but the training will start probably on Sunday, like I just told you. So, once you take advantage of this, then other information will be channeled via the WhatsApp group. All right, so this is 9 p.m. So I think we have to, if you still have, I think some staff members are here. If you have any question or you want to know more about this platform, you can use the message section, and then somebody will be free to answer you. I am very sure on that. All right, so the training is done via live Zoom like this. It's not physical. And at the end of the training, certificate will be awarded on completion. This platform is registered with federal government. Perhaps you want international certification. Though I didn't tell us that. So currently I'm the operational manager at NIT Asaba, and I'm the senior faculty. So if you need, I have an affiliation with them to help you obtain an internationally recognized certification. Perhaps you are interested, but that will be a different discussion. But just participating in the upcoming training, we will issue you a registered certification, which is owned by us. All right, so now let's quickly dive in. Let's quickly dive in. Let's quickly dive in. Please kindly mute if you do not have any question so that we can really move faster. Okay, so just give me a few minutes. Let me switch from this. All right, so so we are diving into the practical section now. We have spoken much about Python. Now we want to see some of the magic we can perform with Python as the programming language. So in case you want to reach out to us via YouTube, I have over I think going to 460 or thereabouts master classes video right in this YouTube. So you can go there and check us out. So we graduated a lot of students. So just go there and find out. And then for those that would like to register with us or just to continue the conversation, you can also WhatsApp this number. That is also my direct WhatsApp number, or the number on the design that brought you here. So now to start with Python programming, remember we talked about IDE. So now we are going towards look at the IDE. But I wanted us to code alongside with me for those that will be fast enough. And that is why I don't want to go through downloading and setting up PyCharm, which we are going to use probably on Sunday. But for this lecture, for this section, so that whatever I am doing, you can be doing it with me, I'm going to use an IDE that is incorporated within a browser. And of course, every one of us via our phone, you have a Google Chrome, you have other browsers. So in as much you have a browser, you should be able to write and execute the Python code we want to learn tonight. So I'm going to use what we call Google Colab. So Google Colab is an IDE, or is an interface, is a development environment that we can access via our what? Browser. So how do we access it before we start looking at Python basic syntax? Just like we have mentioned, we want to cover tonight. So you open your Google or maybe Google Chrome, and then the next thing you search for Google Colab. So let me just type Google Colab. So you can see it here. So once you type it, you are going to be prompted this link. So welcome to Colab. So you can see what is written there. That what Collaboratory allows you to write and execute Python in your browser with whether you are a student, data scientist, or AI researcher. You should be able to use this. So I'm going in by clicking on that link. So you can be doing the same if you can follow me up. So long you have a browser on your phone, you can follow up. And then, or on your laptop, you can follow up as well. So while it's opening, just give me 1 minute. All right. So so let's give it some time to open. It should be network. So let's see if there's error. Let me see. Okay, so now so this is how it will open. Then you click on new notebook. So I have some let me click on new notebook. I think I'm having an error and it's telling me that I need to sign in. So all you need to use Google Colab is for you to sign in. So let me click on sign in and then I'm still getting, let's see if this will sign me in. Okay. So let me use any of these accounts to sign in. Just give me a few minutes. I think I have that particular. Let me use this.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Okay,
Please,
so,
I want to confirm something.
okay, go ahead, sir.
If I have Python already installed, can I use it or is preferred to use this Google Colab?
Yeah, if you have any other IDE, you can go ahead and use it, sir. If you have any
Because
other,
I have Python installed.
okay, so if you have any other IDE, you can continue with it. So I just want to
Okay, I
see,
can follow up.
even if this does not work, I'll switch to PyCharm. I have PyCharm here, but I just wanted uh, to teach us with this. I want to see whether I've received that
Okay.
code. I'm just trying to log in. Let me see if I can use another option. Okay, let me see. Um, why that is going, so that anyone that is ready first. I'm here to get this code. Let me see. Let me even be trying another browser. Hmm. His account, I'm not sure. Let me see if I can come in. I think I've seen the.
They give you your papers complete. The estate now, the facility will take this estate so they come up. Now centralized reservoir system.
So let's remain muted. Let's
And we also
I
get
want to
partnership with
use a Visual Studio Code. I think this one is ready for us to
You
use.
just contact us and then we will link you up with the mortgage bank. So if you want more info on this,
Bunaya. Okay. So I'm going to use Visual Studio Code because I'm having issue with the collab. I'm having issue of signing in. I don't want to waste our time. So you can see that in my own case, I have already installed the Python extension. So for those of us that will open the Visual Studio Code for the very first time for writing Python code, you will have extension issue. So what you do is that you come to this extension here, and then you will search for Python extension. You just search for Python extension, and then it will allow you to install it. So let me just create a file for us to go ahead with what we want to learn. So let's say practice.py. So whenever you are saving Python file, please, it must end with .py. That is the extension. So don't forget that. So you click outside. So I have my development environment now, which we describe then as the code editor. Okay, somebody have questions, sir? Okay, so let's allow him to ask.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, please. I just want to know what's the name of the extension you installed on the VS Code?
Yes, what you do is that once you come to the extension, just search for Python extension. Just type Python here. Once you type Python,
Okay.
you should be able to see there's one that have all in one. But even if you don't come here, so long you are on the internet, just try saving a file with .py. See, there will be a pop-up message that will come. Follow that link. That will automatically configure it for you. All right, sir. Can we? I hope you are good. So you can see it now. You can see. Remember, I just typed Python. So you add the extension to your own so that it will give you not just Python. Type Python extension. That is how you should be able to. So now let's proceed. Now we talk about understanding Python basic syntax. So as a programmer, you start by understanding the basic syntax of that language you want to speak. And some of the basic syntax that a Python beginner should know, number one is comment. So what is comment? Comments are narration. They are non-executable what? Scripts or command. They are just statements. So the way you tell Python that this section of my code, do not execute it, is just to explain my code, either to myself or to the third party. You use comment. And what is Python comment notation? How does Python recognizes comment? You press on your keyboard this hash sign. So anything I write in front of it will be treated as comment in Python programming. So for example, what we are learning right now is Python what? Basic syntax or command. Python basic syntax or command. That is what we are learning right now. So you can see how I've used comment to communicate it. So if I run this code now, how do I remember when we were talking about the attributes an IDE must have before you can choose it? We mentioned three key things. An attribute must give you an interface to write code, must be able to what? To test the code, and should be able to what? To debug the code should there be any what? Error. For example, if I click here, this is where you run the Python code for those of us that are using Visual Studio Code. So if I click here now, you see that what? This is the terminal. This is the console that I was talking about. This is the console. And the console did not display any information. Why? Because Python is currently treating this as a comment. And like I just told us now, comment will be treated as non-executable code or statement. And what makes it, what gives it that configuration is because of this hash. So if I remove this hash now, you see that what? A lot of errors will be generated. If I run this code now, you see what? Bunch of errors. Sorry? If somebody should confirm if you can hear me. I just need one person to confirm if you can hear me.
We cannot hear you, please. But I have a question before you proceed, sir.
Okay, boy, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you and see the screen now. Before you, like 10
Yes.
seconds ago was bad.
Yes, I was typed that actually. Okay, go ahead with your questions.
How do you display what is stamina one? How do you display all this error?
Yeah, terminal is the console. Now, terminal is an interface within the IDE that you are using to output the results of your code, pending when you will create Python user interface. So for at the moment, this is like what the user is supposed to see. That is what you are outputting here, while here is your back end. Now, like you asked, the second part of your question, that how did I got this error? I generated this error because I removed the comment notation from the whole of this line of code. So I was only trying to tell us that if Python do not or does not find that hash, it's going to assume that what? They are live code. And if they are live code, you should have recognized them as string by putting them in quotes, like we are going to know in a moment. I hope I've explained that, sir. So you can still just keep following, you understand how these things work. All right, Mr. Chigozie, I hope I've cleared your question, at least. Can I proceed now? Okay, so I just believe that that is clear. So now we are still talking about the Python basic syntax, and we are starting with comment. Across any programming language you want to learn, you must start by understanding the basic syntax. And one of them in Python is you understanding how to comment. What represent comment? What is comment in programming? So the whole of this line of code is a comment. And what does it tell Python? It tells Python that, hey, the whole of this, don't bother about it. It's not for you. It's for me to understand what I'm doing. So which means that comment I use to explain code to yourself or to the third party. So let's get that understood. Now, another basic syntax we need to understand in Python programming is understanding variables. variables. So I'm going to be using comment to explain what I'm discussing per time. So let's look at Python variable. Python variable. Now, the word variable, not just Python, in programming, every programmer understands what is called variable. The word variable means a container that you create in order to hold values that are not built in the program memory. Now, there is a purpose why we initiate variables. Variables are initiated in order to accommodate or to integrate external value, external information into the program. Why? Because as you proceed with your programming, at some point you need them. For example, I want to create an app that will collect my name, store it in a variable, and output it to user when they call it. So I will ask myself, is my name Prosper a keyword in Python? Because keyword in programming, these are names that has already been used to store certain information or function within a program memory called the cache. So that is where we bring in variable. Now, let's understand the variable and its syntax. That is why we're talking about syntax. Remember, I have defined syntax before. The syntax are set of rules that we follow that are designed for us to be guided when you are programming. Every programmer, any language you are using, you must understand that language what rules. All right. So if we are talking about variable, what makes up a variable? A variable is made up of three what parts, which we must understand so that we don't declare it wrongly. A variable has, let me use comment. The first part of variable is what we call the naming part. The naming part. Every variable you create, as far as any programming language is concerned, you must start by declaring the naming section. So, followed by the number 2 part of variable syntax is the assignment. I am going to show us all this in a moment. The assignment operator. The assignment operator. Now, normally operators in programming, they are notation, they are signs which are used to express something or which are used to perform operation. In programming, plus is an operator, which means what? You are dealing with addition of numbers or values. So each of these signs have their what? Programming meaning. So, which is denoted with equal sign. Now, in programming, when you use one equal sign, it does not mean equality as we know it to be in mathematics. One equal sign means assignment. It means a pipe that is transporting value into the container, which is called the variable. So a practical example is just like I have this as a container. I have this as a container, right? And then this container name, that's why I say naming. So every container you are creating, you must give it a name. So let's say, and the name should be determined by what you intend to store in that container. So that when you are looking for that value, you call the container name according to the content. So if I'm going to store maybe my surname here or my first name, so I will say, okay, this container is labeled what? F name. Now, what I am storing inside this container matters. The type of data you are storing inside this container matters, because the type of data you are storing inside the container has a rule of putting that value into the container. That is where we have different data type. That is where we have in programming, we have primitive data type and composite or reference data type. So by the grace of God, if you register, we are going to take them one after the other. But I just want to paraphrase so that you understand what I'm saying. So if in programming, like I said, we have primitive. Primitive means basic data type. These are programmed, these are inbuilt data type that has their own constructors. As we proceed, you understand what I mean by constructor. For example, now we have number. Under number in programming, we have integer, we have float or double. Integer mean in programming whole number. For example, if I write 90 now, is an integer. If I write 80 now, is an integer. But the moment the number carries decimal unit, let's say 19.5, is no longer integer. It becomes what? Float or double. Because this can stand on its own and this can stand on its own. Now, if I am storing a number in this container, then there is a principle that says that it becomes like this: F name. So but remember that we are storing name, so it can't be number. I'll come to an instance where I will use number. Now, this is the assignment. This is the variable naming section. This is the assignment. And then the value I'm storing is a string. Because the value is a string, that is why I am putting it in quotes. Either double quote or single quote is allowed. So I'll say, okay, Prosper. Prosper, don't mind my writing. This is digital writing. So Prosper. So now, which means that anytime in the course of my programming, I want to use Prosper, I will just call what? Fn. And then it will vomit what? The value inside. So you cannot say you want to get Prosper from this container, you'll be calling Prosper. No, you call the container name. That is how it works in programming. Now, that is a variable syntax we're talking about. Let's look at the full practical. And I want to make it a task. So what is the task? The task is that, let's say task 1, which is like the practical 1, is that create a variable, create Python variable to store. Remember I said variables are like boxes that are designed to hold value. To store my first name. All right. So now, like the syntax I have highlighted, I will start with the name. And please, there are principles that should guide you and I when you are naming your variable. Number one naming principle is that do not use a keyword. So I cannot come here and say print equals to, because print is a keyword. And what did I told us about keyword? Keywords are names that have already been used to store something in the program. So you are not meant to use keyword like print. So, but you can use any other word. That is number one rule. Number two, in terms of the case, Python is case sensitive, which means that if I say what A equals to 90 is not the same thing as A equals to 90. So this does not mean that you are using the same variable name. You are actually using what? Different variable name. So we need to understand that. So when you are naming your variable, the rule says that you should not start your variable naming with number. But I can say PRO and then 1, 2, 3 as my variable name is allowed. But variable naming should never start with what? Number. Now, in terms of the conventional case that are recommended, is either you use what? Snake case, or you use Pascal case, or you use camel case. Now, just to differentiate them, this comes in where you are using two words to name your variable. For example, first name. So I will say, if I'm using camel case, the entire first word will be written in lowercase. Then the beginning character of the next subsequent words will start with capital letter. That is camel. We are using the back of the word, the camel. You know, it goes up like this. That is where this word is derived from. So which means that and another thing again, if you are going to space, this is not allowed in naming variable. This space, Python have issue understanding what data type is this empty space. So never, instead of this, you either merge it together or you separate them with what? Underscore. So if I am asked what type of case is this? This is camel case. Then assignment operator comes in. And then because I am storing a string, in programming, string means text or character-based data type. So because I'm storing text in my variable, which is container, the principle says that it must be in a quotation, either single or double, and then you can now pass the name. Now, if you would like to print this in capital letter, despite that it's written in small letter, you will now do what? Dot upper. You will now do what? Dot upper. So which means that by the time I print Prosper, in the terminal, it will appear in capital letter. Somebody have question? Go ahead with your question, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm really flowing with this your lecture. But
Okay.
what I observe is that this arrangement of Python doing it resembles that of let me say JavaScript or CSS. But
Yes.
because I can see beside this the leftmost under that file and edit, I can see that I can see CSS and style.css and the other one. Because I've been trying to learn Python since,
Okay.
but what I'm trying to ask now is that before you can type on HTML, you know what I'm going to go to like exclamation mark doc type something like that. Is there no any of such formula before you start typing on Python?
No, 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 no. No, no. You just start straight. There's no default structure. There's no default structure. Where you get to default
Okay.
structure is when we get to OOPS, object-oriented programming, where we deal with classes objects. That is advanced. That is where you can now inherit things. But at this level, you are developing things yourself. Now, I'm talking about basic syntax. So this is a variable. Now, if I am asked, what type of variable is this? A variable is described, that is, its type is described according to the type of value it's holding. Now, this is a string. So I can say this is a string variable. Now, another basic syntax in Python, another basic syntax is what? You must understand what is called print command. So what is print command? Print command is a way of telling Python that what? Display something on the screen. Display something on the screen. Don't forget that the whole of this environment is my development environment, is my back end. The user does not see it. So if you enroll with us and you follow us to the advanced where we will learn how to create what? GUI. That is what? Graphical user interface. Where the result will no longer be displayed in the terminal. You will not understand what we are saying. But for now, we are borrowing the IDE terminal to display what we will channel to the what? To the app. So now, if I want to display something here, I want to display, for example, now, you have stored Prosper in a container, which means that container exists within Python. But how can user see it? So that is where you need command printing. So you now say print. So print is a keyword. Now the moment you type it is a function. So it must carry the parenthesis bracket. Now anytime you activate a function and it comes with that word parenthesis bracket, what you should put inside that bracket is called the function parameter. All right? The function what? Argument. And what is the function argument? This function says I am to vomit something. Now give me what you want me to display on the screen. So I will pass in the variable name because I want it to vomit Prosper here. So I will say what? The variable name is first. Now, you can see that this is what we're talking about, auto completion. The moment I type what FIR, you see that what it has prompted it. So now if I run this code now, let's see what we get. We get what? An output. We should have an output here in our terminal that says what? You are printing what? Prosper. I'm just looking for it. I want to scroll down. Let me put this here. Okay, so what do we have here? I'm looking for where. That is why I prefer using PyCharm. If not that this code have disappointed us, it will have been more flexible for us to see what we are doing. Don't know if I can see. Okay, let me check something. Let me check something. Okay, so there was an error there. So you can see that what we have outputted what the prosper here. All right. So I'll get to a point where I'll show us that concept. So you can see that print command is to display something on the screen. So this is a variable. Remember the basic concept we are learning. We have learned comment. Now, as a Python programmer, you know what comment is. Then we have also learned variable. Now we know that what a variable, a container that could hold different data. It could be string. Right now, this is a variable holding string. Now, let me show us something. We want to confirm whether Python is actually recognizing this as a string. So there is a function in Python that can be used to check data type in case you are not sure. Because that is why we say that Python is a dynamically typed programming language, which means that what it factors out the type of value you are storing in a variable itself. So I don't need to say maybe I want to store number now. I'll say s equals to, I'll say integer. This is using the constructor before I will say this. This is just like you are telling Python that this is an integer. Meanwhile, Python on its own knows. So how do I check what type of value is in what first name? So I'll say print, because I would like to see that output. Print, then you say type, that is the function. Then just like we are nesting this type function in the print function. So now, after this, the next thing we are going to do is we pass in the variable name, which is what? The first name. So what are we about to get now? We want to know the value that is stored in this variable, which is prosper. What type of data it is. Is it a number or a text? We will find out now. So let me run the code. You see Python has outputted what? That is what? str, which is the what? The inbuilt constructor for string. So now, for you to also find out, let's create another variable that holds integer. Let's say 90, and then I create another variable that is holding maybe a float, just for us to understand this. And when you are storing integer, anything that has to do with number in Python variable, please, they do not require the what? The quotation, either single or double. It's not required. So that is just the principle of storing string in a variable. Once we are storing boolean, these are what? This one does not require quote. Now, let's say I want to print the type of value here so that we confirm whether it's an integer or is a float. So that what we are testing now, we are testing Python what? Intelligence. We are trying to find out whether it's actually what? An AI programming language that can find out things on its own. So if I print again, print type, if I print type and then I print type, let me complete the bracket, print type X. And then I print, let's check what Python will say. that what? This is an integer. So let me print C. Let me print C. So let me copy this, Control C. And then this time around, we are printing C. We want to see whether Python will confirm that C is what? Float. So let's run the code again. So you see, float. All right. Do we have any question? I hope we are following. Let me get a response at least from one person. I'm trying to catch up with the time so that we can actually learn a lot. Any question?
Yeah, sorry, I have a question. Yeah, can you hear me?
I'm with you, sir. Go ahead, sir.
What if we don't want our values to live within the code? How do we go about it?
If you don't want value
Like,
to live within the code, sorry, I don't think I understand your question. Okay, you don't want the value to live within the code. Are you saying that you don't want it to appear here?
no, what I mean is that on the file where you are writing the code, uh, like the
Okay.
variable itself, we write the variable and we pass the values of the variable. What if we don't want the value of the variable to be seen on this particular code? We want to store it in a different environment so that we can call it whenever we want. How do we go about it?
Okay. I think I'm trying to understand your question. If you are
Okay,
storing
let
it
me
in a
explain.
different
Sorry.
environment, okay, go
Okay,
ahead.
like this, on the file, the number 5, which is a variable, the variable is the first underscore name, and
Okay,
the value is prosper
prosper. Yes.
in double quote. So what if we don't want to display, we don't want that prosper to show, and we kind of hide it in a different environment apart from this particular file? Let's take, for instance, that we have a variable that is very sensitive, like a password or a token, and we don't want people, yeah,
Yeah.
we don't want people to
Now,
see it.
now, now, I understand where I did. As you mentioned, password. I understand what you are saying.
Something sensitive, yeah.
Yes. Now, that is not what we are looking at. But we'll get there probably where you can create this suppress test. This one is not suppress test. That is where all suppress value. And when we get to that aspect, that is where you can do that. But ordinarily, it will be on the application interface that we will implement that because this is back end. In the first place, the user do not even have access to this place. So it is when we want to display it in the app, we will now configure it in a way that if it is password, we can configure it in a way that become a suppress value so that it doesn't show. But we will talk about that, not what we can discuss at this level. I don't want to distract us from the basic that we promised to offer. I hope that is okay, sir.
Yeah, it's very okay. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
All right. So now we are still looking at some few things. Now I want to also explain another basic syntax that you need to understand. So let's assume we are looking at the input command now. Input command. Input command is part of the basic syntax in Python that you need to understand. Now, this is like your code is not dynamic. We have what we call soft coding and hard coding, or soft programming and hard programming. So soft programming is where things are done dynamically, while hard programming is where things are done manually. For example, um, I let's assume that I don't know the name of Prosper. I don't know the user to be Prosper. But instead of that, like an app that, like, okay, let me use a website. You visit a website, you meet a form, and the form will be empty because the developer do not know who is going to fill it. So you cannot go and say that form and pre-program someone's name there. But the programmer will only create an empty container that is waiting to receive a value and keep it in the variable. And then before the value can be used for its purpose. So that is where input, whenever you want to collect data from users, you want to collect information from users, then as a Python programmer, you must know this. I think this will form probably the last basic syntax in this section. So we are looking at what? Input command. Input command. So like I said, it is used to collect users' information. So for example, I can come here now and say what? Input. Input, and then open a bracket, and then I'm creating an input to ask somebody what is your name. So if I come here and say what? What is your name? Right? So what I'm going to do is that because I want to view it, I want it to be outputted. So I will wrap that input in the print command. So what I'm going to do is that I'll simply say print first, and then I'll copy the whole of this. The whole of this, Control C. And then if I put it in here so that I can get an outcome or output. So let's run the code and see what we have. So we have a question here. What is your name? What is your name? Then from here, I can say my name is Prosper, but let me not use Prosper. My name is Eguero. And then you press enter. So you can see that what is asking again. What is my name again? So what is happening here is that you are collecting user input and it's not stored anywhere. That is where you have to bring in variable. So what you will have done, I will just highlight everything and press Ctrl// to convert the live code to what? To comment. So I'm converting this to what? Comment as well. So what you will have done is to say name, then equals to input, then what is your name? What is your name? So if I run it, the code is already executed, which means that what? If it asks for the person's name, it will be stored in what? The person will reply with the name, and the name will be held in what? Name. So which means that if I want to see it, I will say what? Print what? Name. So let me run the code again. It asks, what is your name? I say, okay. Okoro is my name. And once I press enter, you see that what? It printed what? Okoro. Unlike the other time that I did not see the name because it was not stored in a variable. So I can write a program like this. So I'm ending it with this app. So I'm going to create an app that can collect someone details, biodata, and then output all the information at once. So let me temporarily comment this, and then what is the task? The task is create a Python basic app to collect users biodata. So I'm going to start with the first information I want to collect from the person. Let's say what? First name. So I will use what? F name equals to. Then I will say what? Input. So this is like combining all the concepts we have learned. Input. I want to start with what is your first name? What is your first name? What is your first name? Right? Then That is going to be the first one. The second one is middle name equals to input again. What is your middle name? All right. So I want to collect the person's age. I would say input. Now, age is a number, so I will say, okay, I want to convert it int, and then before what? The input, that is data conversion. So collect the age and recognize it as an integer. That's what we are saying. What is your age? Your age, or how old are you? So let me collect one more. Let's say it says input. What is your gender? Now, I want to print all this information using one print command. So I'm not going to say print f name, print m name, print age. So I will just use one, and then I will introduce what we call Python new line printing. So this is going to be the final practical for this section. For those that are interested, don't hesitate to, like I told us that those of us that joined this class, we are giving it to you for 10,000. So that is the advantage of you joining. I think somebody have question. Is it question that you have, or is it a mistake? Is it question?
I have a question, please.
Okay.
I want to understand I want you to know if I understand this, and it is the fact that where you are inputting all this raw stuff, as in the normal backend layout, is it on that terminal that we are going to be seeing everything, or there is another page such as maybe website to be viewing all these things in Python case? Because
Yes.
I can see that once you are typing the what is your middle name, whatever, it is this downside that we are seeing the answers. What sense does that make in terms of what we want to use Python for, like other
Yes.
stuff like CSS and HTML?
I understand you. I think I've said it before. I said there is a topic called Python GUI where you create user interface. So the users are not supposed to be seeing this end. This is your development environment, which is equivalent to your back end. So you learn Python to where you cannot create user interface. But for now, since you are learning the language where you have not gotten to, you can start learning Python and then jump to user interface. So as you proceed, when you are done with the basic to intermediate, then advance, where you start learning OOPS and the rest of them. That is when you will now learn how to create Python user interface. Then you will have a database where all this will be stored that the app will be calling them from. I hope I've answered your question. So, like I said, I'm
You are
printing.
very correct, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, like I said, I'm printing this. I'm printing all the value, and I'm using what we call Python string printing, which you start with F, and then you create your string. So the first one, I'll say what my biodata are. So I can just put it here. So anytime I want to reference a value, a variable, I want to reference a variable, so I'll simply what? Put it in the curly bracket. So I'll say what? F name. You don't need to quote it because it's an existing variable. Now, because I would like this to display in a block, I will use what we call Python new line printing slash backward slash and n, which means that what? This will go down. Then after this, I also want that what? New line here. So that's what we are saying. Then I'm capturing another variable. And then the next one is what? Name. Name. And then the next information should also print in a new line. So that slash n means what? New line. So the next one is age. Age. After age, the next one should also go down. So I hope we understand this, but I know once you register, we will take time to look at this together one more time. Then, of course, the sex, which is, do I have it here? Okay, if I don't have it. Now, if we run this code now, check what happened. It asks, what is your first name? I say, okay, my first name is Ojo. I press enter. It asks me, what is your middle name? My middle name is Okeke. I press enter. What is your age? My age is 12. Then it asks again, what is your gender? I say, I am male. And then once I press enter here, look at this. It outputted what? My biodata are this. So ladies and gentlemen, we have just fulfilled what exactly we told you we are going to teach you from my slide. So if you have any question, you ask, so you can see how we were able to build that simple app. And this is exactly 10 p.m. So I would like to know those that will probably proceed to the master class. If you are interested to continue with the master class, I would like you to either unmute or communicate back to us, or you can even contact us via the number there. Like I said, the main class is starting on Sunday. And the way we have divided it is that we have broken it into 3 phases. So this first part is for us to understand the basic. Then after the basic, we advance to intermediate. Then after the intermediate, we advance to the advanced. That is where you will learn that GUI and the rest of it. But for this basic, where you'll be grounded with everything that to do with basic to Python function to creating some real life application, we are saying that instead of paying the usual 150 that we normally charge per person, if you are going to join that section on Sunday, you can, for those of us that are here only, we are giving it to you for 10,000. So if I have such a person who is interested, you can unmute and talk to us or ask for the account detail for you to register. But since we are all in that group, somebody with more information will be prompted to us there to continue the conversation. So I can see somebody answering yes. Okay. Okay, so how many of us? Yes, somebody is asking, okay, with the video, yes, the video will be available via that particular group that you are. So if perhaps you send the link to someone and the person is not in that group, please WhatsApp the number on the design. Or if, I don't know if the group is open for you guys to be able to talk back to us, but because we want to ensure your security, that is why we decided not to leave it open. So somebody say, I'm interested but not ready to pay now. Okay. So you have our contact. So whenever you are ready to pay, kindly reach out to us. Have the admin numbers there. Okay. So any other question, or you want to appreciate, or you have anything to say before we close the session, please, you are free. Like I said, more information we continue to. Somebody say I'm interested. That is a Femi. Please, if I have admin, you can follow them up. The group is not visible to Tessa. Okay, so admin, please, if you can just open up the group for now for those that want to say anything, please, I will appreciate that. Please, let's kindly open the group for them. Mercy, are you here? I can't find you.
Hello, I'm here.
Please kindly open up the group. Let's see, for those that, make sure you close it before you go to bed tonight too, so that tomorrow we'll not wake up and start seeing all manner of messages there. Okay, so the account detail will be made available via the group. I think I just got an info that is open now. So for those of us, just go there and drop your comments regarding to how you enjoy or you did not enjoy the class. Please, we appreciate that. Just drop a comment there in the group, your experience with tonight's section. And then for those that want to ask questions, please message, you can drop the account detail also for those that are interested. Once we confirm their payment, we migrate you to the paid group where we will continue the conversation. Like I told us that the training will start only on Sunday, this Sunday. Please, if I were to be you, don't miss. Please, can you give your number? Okay, Mercy, please, you can put the number in the message chat for those that want the contact. Please kindly make it available for them. Please, if you can do that. And if you are also in the group, I believe you should be able to see the contact as well. I think I'm one of the admin. You can chat any of the admin there. If there's somebody we attend to you. Okay. So in the absence of question, the conversation will continue via the group. If you need any information, just look for any of the admin number and chat them up. We'll be glad to respond to you. Please continue to also recommend this platform to your friends. We train on cybersecurity, not just this, data analytics, web development, we train on all of that. So it's not just Python. So you can also ask for other training outside the Python. So thank you very much, everyone. Mercy, you can continue with them. Bye for now.